Whether you notice something in a different place to where you left it, or a cold chill that suddenly enters the room, there's no denying the countless paranormal experiences that occur during our time on Earth. Whatever you like to call these phenomena, ghouls, monsters, or demons, there are many bone-chilling accounts of demonic behaviour throughout history. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 terrifying tales of demons and exorcisms. The Exorcist, Priest, and the Devil. Even the agnostic knows that in religious doctrine, the devil is not someone to mess around with. The red-horned, fallen angel himself is the main antagonistic figure in Christianity and often symbolises all of mankind's sins and the potential fall that any person could make from God's kingdom. As such, many priests and religious figureheads take it upon themselves to fend off demonic behaviour or possession in order to protect people from untold harm. The most common and well-known method adopted by these priests is the act of exorcism, or sacred and holy rite that expunges demonic entities from their unwilling hosts. Father Gabriel Amorth is one of those priests and is one of the most famous exorcists in all of history. But this particular story centres on Father Gabriel Amorth's close contact with the demon of darkness himself. Our story begins in 1997 in Italy's capital. Rome, known for its devoted followers of Catholicism, was no stranger to exorcisms, but this particular case would forever haunt Father Gabriel for the years to follow. One day, a young peasant man is brought to Father Gabriel and into his exorcism room. Gabriel immediately knew something was off. He had felt it many times before. The man stood before him bore an evil presence. Knowing that he would need to expunge the demon from the man in front of him, Gabriel spoke and asked for the assistance of Jesus to guide him. Immediately, the young man started to spit and curse at the priest. Strangely, the man spoke in English and not Italian, which was his native language. Marcello Stanzioni, author of The Devil is Afraid of Me, the life and work of the world's most famous exorcist, wrote the following on the incident. His curses and threats were aimed solely at the exorcist. Then he began spitting at him and preparing to attack him physically. Screaming and howling, the demon burst forth and looked straight at him, drooling saliva from the young man's mouth. Father Gabriel quickly began to recite prayers towards the demonic man, telling it to reveal its true identity. "Unclean spirit," Father shouted, "whoever you are and all your companions who possess this servant of God, I command you, tell me your name, the day and the hour of your damnation." The reply was shocking and chilled Father Gabriel to his core. The man stared at him with glazed eyes and spluttered, "I am Lucifer." Retelling the story years later, Gabriel stated that he began to send a flurry of prayers towards the possessed soul, specifically reciting verses of liberation from the Roman rite of exorcism. The demon writhed in pain from the father's words. The person before him began to violently fling his head back and roll his eyes so that Gabriel could no longer see his pupils. He stretched and shrieked endlessly, and the man's back held arched for a quarter of an hour. As the exorcism carried on, Stanzioni writes, the room became exceptionally cold. Ice crystals formed on the windows and the walls. The young man's body stiffened so much that he became rigid and began to levitate. For several minutes, he remained hovering 3 feet in the air. After floating in the air, the possessed man eventually fell and dropped into a chair. Father Gabriel Amorth had managed to quell the power of the beast. Father continued to visit the man each day. He would pray over the unfortunate man until he received no more resistance from him. Finally, the man reached a point of peace, and it was clear that the devil was no longer using him as a host. Father Gabriel Amorth took the opportunity to ask the man how Lucifer had left his body. The man replied that he began to howl like never before. Then, at the end of this, he felt new and light. The Zozo Demon. The Zozo Demon is a spirit who you may not have heard of. This mysterious and newly discovered entity is not one to take lightly, and the story of its existence is as frightening as it is interesting. The Zozo Demon is a mischievous spiritual entity that makes contact with humans through the use of Ouija boards. Those who have reported to come into contact with Zoho state that he reveals himself by guiding those using the Ouija board into making figure eights, before moving frantically between the letters Z and O. Zozo's interactions with humans often begin friendly and cordial, but they soon turn frightening. Zoho has been reported to curse and threaten those who are present at the Ouija board. Believers in the existence of Zoho state that he has his origins in ancient times, dating back to societies from thousands of years ago in Africa. Still, his beginnings are shrouded in mystery. However, the first textual reference to Zoho first happened in 1818, in a book with the story of a young village girl who stated that she had been possessed by 3 different demons called Mimi, Crapule, and one named Zozo. In 2009, after years of obscurity, the demonic presence of Zozo began to undergo significant popularity through the work of a man named Darren Evans. Evans, a man from Oklahoma in the United States, claimed that he had come into contact with a demon called Zozo. Evans published his accounts through a website. In his post, Evans detailed how he had been interested in ghosts and the occult from a young age. Still, he admitted he had never seen or experienced anything like the demon Zozo. Zozo was different. Evans stated that Zozo revealed himself regularly, too many times to count. Zozo would adopt the presence of a friendly spirit before changing to more aggressive behaviour, often cursing in what Evans described as looked like Latin or Hebrew. I was genuinely fascinated and startled by how many times Zozo showed up, even in many different states and many different Ouija boards, Evans wrote in his famous post. He continued to assert that Zozo also made many threats against his young daughter, who was still a toddler. Evans claims that Zozo nearly drowned her in the bathtub and infected her with an unknown affliction or illness. He stated this is when he began to suspect a demonic attack. The post by Evans soon started to gain traction among fans of the paranormal online. Readers began to tell their own stories, many with striking similarities to that of Evans. Whether or not you believe in Evans' story, many who fear the occult certainly do. In 2012, an independent feature film named I Am Zozo was released, which actually features a cameo by Darren Evans himself. Assag, the monstrous demon. Many demons that are reported to enact cruel punishments upon humans today actually trace their histories back to ancient Sumer. Sumer is the earliest known civilization to emerge from southern Mesopotamia, and the culture of Sumer was founded on stories of the Mesopotamian underworld, which was filled with a wide array of horrific demons. Assag, known for his ability to make fish boil alive in water just by his presence alone, is a monstrous and dangerous demon. Upon his arrival, Assag was believed to be accompanied into battle with his army of rock demon offspring. Assag is known to be a large, round creature with 3 legs and 3 arms. Assag also has no neck and features eyes covering his entire body. His skin is dark and hard to the touch, almost like rock. In Sumerian legend, Assag is believed to be the cause of disease and plague. He is the sworn enemy of Ninurta, the Sumerian god of war, and was eventually defeated by Ninurta after fighting for days on end. Fulfilling his role of plague and disease, Assag was believed to linger inside a person's body and had the ability to enrobe any unfortunate human like their clothing. There are particular references to his ability to cause head fevers and to eventually cause loss of muscle function in his victims. It is believed that Assag was supposed to represent or was born out of racism and fear of the ancient Sumerian people. The Zagros Mountains and the Sumer region were home to groups like the Kassites, Guti, Assyrians, Elamites, and Mitanni. These groups would raid and attack Sumerian cities, and were thought as less than human by the ancient Mesopotamians. The dark, destructive demon of Assag is a direct parallel to this. Perhaps Assag is simply a symbolic myth, or perhaps something much more sinister grew from the fears of the ancient Sumerians. But what do you make of these demons and exorcisms? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.